The corner of Lombard and Eutaw Streets, and what you can see behind me, there's a line of police officers, and some of them are mixed in with state troopers. Now, just a few moments ago, we saw it looked like a pretty even mix of state troopers and city police marching up Eutaw Street. I believe they were headed toward the University of Maryland Medical School, and they've since disappeared. And so we've got officers blocking the street here, physically blocking the street. Down the street you really can't see it. However, there are police vehicles blocking this block of Lombard Street as it intersects Eutaw. Now earlier tonight, and we did take some videotape of this, we were actually in the line of fire when protesters started getting very ugly. This happened at Camden Yards. And it was during the standoff between police and protesters. Demonstrators tossed batteries, bottles, and plastic soda bottles at police. At one point, a huge orange barrier flew over a police barricade there. Now, the demonstrators then moved on to a strip of bars next to the ballpark and did the same thing there. A cousin of Freddie Gray collapsed in the streets. Melissa Ely had been pleading with demonstrators to be peaceful. Don't do this, she says. Just let it go. Demonstrators broke business windows on Pratt Street. There was apparently a Subway shop that became victimized by the vandals. Another standoff happened in front of the Holiday Inn. Protesters started shouting, "Hands up, don't shoot," and they were blocking traffic. And we have to repeat this. The police have shown a lot of restraint here. Captain Eric Kowalczyk, within the hour, was telling us that only 2 arrests have been made, and at that time, because he just checked in, he did not know the nature of those arrests. People were screaming at times during these mini confrontations. I call them a rolling street blockade. They were literally screaming within inches of police's face and holding signs to their face, trying to agitate them, trying to provoke them into doing something. And again, the police have shown a tremendous amount of restraint as we speak at the moment. So a lot of people are out here, and what's complicating some things, however, of course there's a ball game going on. It's Saturday night in Baltimore, and there are a lot of people downtown, and there are a lot of curious people who want to see what's going on. So some of the people who aren't associated with the protest are walking over and joining the crowd inadvertently. A lot of them are taking pictures, and so police at a first glance may have a difficult time sorting out who is protesting and who is actually visiting the city for very interesting or very sincere purposes. I want to point out one other thing. We were talking with Captain Eric Kowalczyk within the hour, and he was giving us an update. And he says, when the public is in danger, that's when police are going to move in and start making arrests. And as he was speaking, I don't know if this was on the air or not, but as he was speaking, we were approached by a small group of protesters. They were carrying, and I'll show you later on, some pretty large sticks, the kind of sticks with sharp points on the end that you nail in the ground to keep trees in place, when they're growing. And they also had rocks larger than this, and they were tossing them in the air. And one of the protesters says to the other person, "Put that away. What are you guys doing? Put that away." But one got a little angry, shall we say, and walked up and literally punched the captain, a police captain, in the back. Now, he's wearing a vest, but he still felt it. He was punched in the back, and at that point we had to end the interview, and Captain Kowalczyk pulled myself and another person out of harm's way, and we really do appreciate that. Now, behind me it's just a police wagon. Don't know the nature of the call. You can tell by all these officers standing here that they're on a stand down right now at Eutaw and Lombard Street. So whatever that call is probably an isolated event. Now, one thing that is a little surreal is, as I was walking around the city tonight, you've got a mix of city police, and they are in uniform. And it's not intimidating to see a police officer in uniform. What is kind of intimidating, though, is the helmet that they're wearing, and an unusual sight. Thankfully, it's an unusual sight. You have a mixture of state police and city police marching up the street in the size of a platoon. Thankfully, it's rare. It's a little disconcerting. But as Governor Hogan told us the other day, that he sent 32 state troopers to Baltimore to help out, to assist, who are trained in crowd control, and we've started to see them at least mobilize, haven't actually seen them in action yet. So lots of crowds, lots of curiosity. People who really may not know any better are trying to get their message on the air because they saw the protesters talking about Freddie Gray. And right now, in our particular area, we've got police blocking the streets between Lombard and Eutaw.
All right, Dave, thank you for that report. We still have a bevy of live pictures to show you, but we also have another phone call we want to get to. It's Tessa Hill Aston, president of the Baltimore branch of the NAACP. Thanks for joining us this evening.